This paper, I'm also looking at it on Turnitin in the originality view. And you can see some color here. So here's this peach, green, peach, and that tells us right away these sections, Turnitin believes them to be plagiarized. So on this page, there seems to be a lot of text without any color, so presumably it's original. And then we've got the plagiarized part, so let's have a look at that. We have 3 different problems on one page. At the top, the first line and a half is in peach. So it tells us that it comes from, I think it comes from this source over here. And there is no citation. So this is a case where the student word for word copied what was written by someone else and didn't cite their source, and that means that it might be harder to discover where it came from, but Turnitin found it. Now, the green here is a different case. In the green, the student also plagiarized, writing word for word taking word for word what another author said, but telling me where they got that, and that was Costa 2000. So that's still plagiarism, but here the student was very careful to say where they got the material, and in this next paragraph, which is almost all highlighted in this peach color, again there's a citation, and in this case again the student is indicating where they got the citation, but it's still plagiarism. So this is a problem. This whole top half is a problem. But, unfortunately, the rest of this page is not written by the student either, because now the student has a paragraph in which the entire paragraph is a quote. And here's the beginning of the quotation mark over here and the end quotation mark over here. So having a very long quote in a paper isn't in and of itself a problem. What matters is how many quotes you have and how long the paper is. What's problematic with this page is that this is another case where the student didn't write anything on the page. So whether it's plagiarized here without a citation, plagiarized here with citations, or in quotes, not a single word in this entire section was written by the student. This happens to have been a 4-page paper, and so in this case, if this had been the only part of the paper with this problem, it still would have been 25% of the paper, would have been 1/4 of the paper not written by the student, and that's not okay. So no matter how we cut the cake, this isn't okay for this paper. Maybe if the student had written a 50-page paper and had a really long quote like this, that would be fine. The best policy really is don't quote, use your own words. The most you can use your own words, the more you can use your own words, the stronger your paper is going to be. And there are very few times in college writing where you have to use someone else's words. The only time that you'd really want to put a quote in is when another author has said something so relevant to your paper in such a beautiful and special way that you want to use their words, that using your own words just can't do it justice. And then you might do that for a line or two. You really never, in a social science paper of under 10 pages, would have an entire paragraph like this that's a quote. Most of the time when you read a paragraph like this, you'll find you can say it yourself in your own words. And maybe when you do that, in fact, most likely when you do that, it's going to fit the assignment better because you'll be writing it for the assignment, while this author was writing it for his paper or his book, which might not be and won't be your professor's assignment. So in this paper, again, to reiterate, this is a problem and this student is not going to do well because nothing here is written by the student himself.